Both sides of the Star Wars sequel trilogy debate, please hear me out. I promise the payoff will be worth it. I've come up with a sort of compromise that may work for some of the more disgruntled fans of the Star Wars sequel trilogy, and those who like it. Will this end the debate as to whether the Star Wars sequel trilogy is good or not? Nah, that's never going to be over. But it may help end the debate as to what should be done with the films. How do we fix the Star Wars sequels? Retcon them and start over? Sell Lucasfilm and fire Kathleen Kennedy? Well, there's no need for those extremes. Not yet, at least. We all know I love the original trilogy. It's still my favorite. I also love the prequel trilogy, and yes, I love the sequel trilogy. Hang on, don't run away. So what if we don't share the same likes and dislikes? That doesn't mean we're not civilized. I can't stand Corona beer, but maybe you like it. We can still hang out. I'll just be drinking rum or a nice German Dunkel. Anyways, we may not agree on every Star Wars story, but we can agree that Star Wars is pretty cool. Unless you're too cool for Star Wars, then Star Wars is pretty nerdy. Either way, we like it, or you wouldn't be watching a video about Star Wars. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Gerald, and I'm a Star Wars fanatic, and you can be a Star Wars fanatic too. All you have to do is hit that subscribe button, turn on your notifications. Subscribing is absolutely free. We may not agree on every topic that I talk about, but we do agree on one thing. We love Star Wars. Okay, with that said, let's get on with today's topic. Along with the Star Wars movies, I also like the new Star Wars series we've been seeing, with the latest being the Obi-Wan Kenobi series. Oh my God, stop trying to run away. Let me explain, and you'll see where I'm going with this. Obi-Wan Kenobi is currently on the 4th episode released. A lot has been said hating on it. I'm not here to change your minds if you do hate it, but are you hating it for the right reasons? I'm not here to try to influence you into my way of thinking either. Quite the opposite. As long as you're respectful, disagree with anything you like. I'm nobody important. Well, I am important to my wife and kids, but you know what I mean. Are you disliking the new Star Wars material for the right reasons? Do you even know the real reason you don't like it? I mean, I don't know the full reasons I like this stuff. Okay, what I just said sounded stupid, I'll give you that. Let me rephrase it. I can't pinpoint one particular reason that I like the stuff. I just do. It's like when the beat of a song hits you the right way and you feel your toe tap. The song may not be the best song ever written, may not even be close to the best that artist has written. But for whatever reason, Fergie's Big Girls Don't Cry gets me every time. Don't ask me why, it's just a sweet song that I have to sing at the top of my lungs when I hear it. Yeah, I sound bad, like rocks banging together. It's awful. But who cares? My kids have learned to live with it and they sing along with me now. But the point is, sometimes we don't know why we actually like or dislike something. It just strikes us in the wrong way or in the right way. Star Wars can be the same way. When this happens, it may even confuse us, to the point we start looking for reasons to explain why we hate it or like it. We may even look to others for answers. People we see as Star Wars gurus. Regular people with the same confusion. They just hide it better. To some, The Last Jedi is the biggest piece of crap written in the Star Wars universe. But when you ask someone why they don't like it, their response is generally the same. Bad writing, the treatment of Luke Skywalker, killing Snoke in the middle of the story, and so on and so forth. But to me, some of those things made it brilliant. Luke was humanized, albeit not in the best way possible to show it. Killing Snoke was unpredictable, and I'll get more into the predictability factor in Star Wars in just a bit. But we can all probably agree on the Canto Bight scene. It was unnecessary, other than introducing DJ. I like DJ. And the same thing goes for those who love The Last Jedi. The cinematography was amazing and the visuals, the special effects were great, and the urgency in the story was very much at the forefront. Standard rhetoric. On both sides, these arguments are parroted reactions. Yes, copied reactions and rhetoric from those we see as Star Wars know-it-alls. That's not a bad thing. Sometimes we look to others to explain why we are feeling what we are feeling, when we can't explain it ourselves. And trust me, there's some scientific formula with the Fibonacci sequence and all this stuff that I really don't want to get into that could play a factor in what we like and what we don't like. But sometimes the reactions are hidden under false reasoning. Some just hate Disney or love Disney, and that's the main reason they like or dislike the new Star Wars stuff. Some feel there's a leftist agenda at play, and they're putting it into Star Wars as a way of coaxing us into believing that agenda, which is very much true. But there has always been a leftist agenda at play. The Trade Federation was a mockery of the American capitalist system, yet people accept it. There's a reason George Lucas appointed Kathleen Kennedy as head of Lucasfilm. Yes, he appointed her. It was in the contract when he sold the company. There's also a reason he sold to Disney, other than for more money. All three, George Lucas, Kathleen Kennedy, and Disney, are of the same mindset. But that isn't what I'm here to talk about, and nor do I really care what their mindset is on that stuff. There are a lot of influencers on YouTube that don't like the new Star Wars stuff. And that's so cool. I'm glad they provide an outlet for people to go to and flock to get their reasons.
Hi, Kevin.
Hi. What is your question?
And it is really cool that there are others like my channel. Albeit I do feel alone a lot of times, but that's whatever. It brings diversity. How fun would this fandom be if we all agreed on everything? Yeah, it would be a big party celebrating the material, or it would be like a funeral gathering. Either way, the highs and lows have to be balanced, and we have to be able to debate, even in Star Wars. But we often look to those channels for reasons as to why we like or dislike the content. Then we accept their reasons and take their reasons as our own, when in fact they may not have a clue as to why they feel the way they do either, and may have looked to someone else for an explanation. The point is, we don't always have the right answer. We may have the right answer for ourselves sometimes, but you are different as an individual, and we can't explain why you vibe with some things and not with others. It's all personal to you. Star Wars is a very personal experience, and you don't need validation for your feelings toward it. But I will say this, some of the criticisms I've heard about the newer Star Wars material is that it's predictable. Of course it's predictable. The bad guy isn't going to win in Star Wars, never has. When we are watching a trilogy for the first time, we know that by the end of the third movie, certain things will be resolved, or the story will set up the next trilogy. The antagonist will lose eventually. In the original trilogy, we knew the Emperor was going to lose and Luke would be successful. It was predictable. In the prequels, we knew Anakin was going to turn. The Empire would rise and the Jedi would not keep going the way they were. In the sequels, we knew Rey would prevail and the First Order would finally be eliminated. The Kenobi series is no different. We know Obi-Wan Kenobi and Darth Vader will survive, and the story will continue. Reva will not survive. Star Wars is predictable. What can I say? I'm not trying to talk you out of your opinions. Quite the opposite. Embrace them. But for those who hate the stuff because you think Disney is only after profit, there are a couple things wrong with that idea. The first being, Disney doesn't write Star Wars content. They pay for it. So yeah, they want to make a return on their investment and a profit. Okay, I know the hate for Disney runs pretty deep, so let's look at a couple other examples, and I promise I am getting to the point. Let's look at it this way. It costs McDonald's 77 cents to make a Big Mac, yet the cost to buy one is $4. That's a huge markup. It doesn't cost them $4 to make the Big Mac and then sell the Big Mac for $4. So $3.23 of each Big Mac is profit. That's right, 77 cents is what it costs to make it, even after labor and all that. That's huge. But these are real numbers, by the way. Does McDonald's only care about profit, or are they in the business of making a tasty burger? Consumers keep buying them, so they must be good, right? Or at least good enough. Okay, one more example. A Harley-Davidson motorcycle costs about $1,000 to make, yet the same bike will cost you $15,000 to buy. not $1,000. No one is screaming that Harley-Davidson only cares about profit. In order to make a good profit, you have to have a good product. If they only cared about profit, they wouldn't even try making good Star Wars movies. They could probably make enough money off merchandise to pay them back for what they spent on the company to George Lucas. By the way, George Lucas cared about profit as well. Did you know he still holds stock in Star Wars and Lucasfilm? He sold the company for $4 billion. His stocks have earned him an additional $7.4 billion. But enough about that. I have come to a resolution about the Star Wars sequel trilogy. Maybe. With me being a fan of the sequels, I also acknowledge that they may not work as sequels of the Skywalker Saga, as well as other stories may have. Remember, when A New Hope was just called Star Wars? Well, from 1977 until 1981, when it was re-released in theaters, that was the name of it. Not Episode 4, not A New Hope, just Star Wars. In 1981, when it was re-released, George Lucas changed it to Episode 4, A New Hope. After Episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back, had been out for a year already. Trust me, I do have a point to this, and I am getting to it. George Lucas was always tinkering with the original films, making them what he wanted. Some changes were cool, like the ring around the exploding planets and Death Stars. Other changes, not so cool. Han shot first, to me at least. But if you believe in George Lucas's vision and want him back so badly, you probably should embrace Greedo shooting first. That was his vision. Later. Much later. Long after he made Han Solo shoot first. But back to the point. George Lucas was always tinkering with the movies, changing things in them. Even did the title change I mentioned before, Star Wars to Episode 4, A New Hope. Moving on. I hear a lot of people screaming that the sequels need to be retconned and restarted, so I came up with this compromise. That is along the lines of something George Lucas may have done himself. What if they simply change the titles of the sequels? Make them a standalone trilogy and simply drop the episode titles 7 through 9. Most people would agree that these movies work as their own storyline, but not as a Skywalker Saga sequel trilogy. They could be titled The Force Awakens, The Last Jedi, and The Rise of Skywalker still, but lose the episode marking. Maybe make them the beginning of the Rey Saga, chapters 1 through 3. This way, those who enjoy the movies can watch them and they aren't attached to the overall Skywalker overarching story. Those who don't like the films can ignore them without feeling like they're obligated to watch them because of their episode titles. The EU was the same way. There were a lot of stories. One could pick and choose what they wanted to read and what they didn't want to read. But I'm sure there will be those who say, no compromise, the movies need to be wiped from existence. Well, I'm sorry, it doesn't work that way. Just because you don't like something doesn't mean it shouldn't exist. Can you imagine a world where things didn't exist because some people didn't like it? You'd be eating sand and wearing a loincloth until someone decided they didn't like those either. Then we would cease to exist altogether. Seriously, eliminating things that people hate would literally wipe out the human race. Maybe that's what you want. Probably not, though. I think it's a fair compromise, though. The point being, let people enjoy what Star Wars they enjoy, and those who don't enjoy it can go on hating it. Not that I have any say-so in anything, but maybe if this message or video got spread around enough times, who knows? But chances are most of you haven't even made it this far, and I'll get a ton of nasty comments. Oh well, we shall see. But disagreeing with me or anyone else isn't a bad thing, not at all. Being disrespectful when you yourself demand respect is a bad thing. So, be kind to each other. Drink your Corona, and I'll join you with some rum. This is Gerald from Star Wars Fanatic, signing off, wishing you all great health, happiness, and peace. Thank you for watching, and remember, this is the way, the only way.